Plus, worlds like that make today look better. Dick.
So I'm gonna ruin a joke
Okay.
that I want to play on you at some point.
Okay.
Some point in the near future. Maybe not so near. I'm gonna just ping you at 9 a.m. like on a Sunday and say, "You ready?"
And I'd be like, my hair would be like all over this, my glasses will be on, and I just like would, yeah.
For those
I
who
would fall
don't
for that.
get the joke, every morning it's usually like 8:57 a.m. whatever. I always just message Paul like, "Ready?" Like I'm gonna call you in 3 minutes. And so doing that on a Sunday would be the perfect way
Actually,
to.
the better day to do it would be Friday.
Oh yeah, Friday would work too.
I'd fall for that.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt myself all the time. That would be confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so here we are. It is. It's Happy Friday. We've got a good weekend coming. We also had a big Sony event yesterday, and Paul and I think differ on what we think of this thing.
Yeah, but that makes sense because design is kind of divisive, right? Yep. And you have terrible taste. So,
well,
that makes sense.
It's not that I look at this thing and think, "Oh my God, that's a Ferrari." It's that I look at it and I'm not offended. Like to me, it's.
I don't think this design's going to stand the test of time.
Oh, I'm not saying. Well, so I have this thought in my head that during the Xbox meeting, let's just say whatever it costs, $500 million to make the Series X. Like Phil Spencer sitting there and saying, "Okay, we've got $300 million for chip development and performance and all that stuff, and $100 million for design of the actual box." And he goes, "No.
No, we're
going to put it in a box," and they get the other $100 million.
Yeah, exactly. So here's my take on this. 15 years ago-ish, when Microsoft was coming out with the Xbox 360, they showed off that design earlier that year, like probably at an April event, something like that. Yeah. And the thinking at the time was it was white because Apple products were white and they were really popular, and it just seemed like white was the new kind of consumer color.
Yep.
And what they discovered is that white is a terrible color for a console, and that's why the subsequent two generations of the Xbox 360 and then the Xbox One. Well, they did a white one. Actually, they did the S in white.
Yeah.
So my take on this is that the Xbox 360 when it first came out looked modern and sleek and everything, but I don't feel like that design aged particularly well. And I think what they should have done, and by the way, I think what they will do is over time they'll offer a black one, and they'll, you'll have a choice. And
limited edition or whatever mid-cycle refresh type thing.
And I think the weirdness of its design would kind of disappear a little bit in black because it would get lost in
it
their
certainly
cabinet.
Would.
Yeah.
Unless they make that internal part that's now black white, and then it would.
It should just be black, but whatever. It being white is not really, I guess, the bigger issue. It's just it's like it looks like a flower or something. It's kind of
it's
organic
design. It's not a box.
It's not a box.
I don't have the image, but this thing is big, like big.
Yeah, and that is in sharp contrast to the Xbox Series X, which is smaller than it looks. Because you look at that thing and you're like, oh, it's like a refrigerator, and it's not. It's this little thing.
Well, I don't know about little. I mean, it's bigger than the One, but it's definitely smaller than this looking thing. Like
we'll see. Whatever. I mean, over time, obviously, they release different gens and revisions and so forth.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they deal with cooling, because we already know that on Microsoft side, they said basically, look, we put a fan on the bottom of this thing and a fan on the top, and it's just going to suck it on through. Yeah,
it works on the premise of those Rolls-Royce engines you see on airplanes.
Yeah, it pretty much does.
Thunderous explosion of sound. Yeah, and by the way, the bigger issue here, of course, the design is whatever. I mean, if you're a Sony guy and you're buying a PlayStation 5, you don't whatever. It looks like whatever it looks like. The important thing is the games, and and I'm curious about your takeaway from this. But in this, I thought like when Microsoft did their similar thing a few weeks back, the games look great, whatever, as expected, and that was kind of my reaction here. I was like, okay, the games look great. They were not next level great, like and every time there was a moment, like maybe it was like a close up of someone's face, like, wow, that really looks good, and then it kind of drifted back and it went into the actual game. It's just like a game, so. And I, for whatever it's worth, I mean, this is probably a personal preference thing, but I thought there were way too many cute games, like Switch type games.
Yeah.
And I just don't see Sony owners. Well, Sony knows better than I do, but I just don't see them, leaning toward those kinds of games. You don't buy like the world's greatest console to play a little, kind
like
of
a
game.
Casual.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of weird. But
Yeah.
I think they were going for diversity.
I think they were. I think you're exactly right. They just kind of scattershot it. Said, look, we got to have some run around kill monsters people or games. We got to have some cute artsy fun. And the thing that's interesting about it to me was the Microsoft's presentation, minus the unveiling of the actual console, wasn't all that different. And they got roasted for it. People are like, "Oh, this was terrible."
I was really kind of clenching my teeth a little bit, waiting for that moment. Like, oh crap, they did it. It's over, and that never came. So
No.
I think these next gen consoles are going to be great. Either one of them, you'll be fine either way. But
Yep.
I don't know. The more you learn about this thing, the weirder it gets. Like the very first game they showed was the Spider-Man game, right?
Mhm.
That's not a new game. That came out last year on the PlayStation 4. It's the same game. I guess they're adding a couple of levels, and of course they're upsizing the graphics, or whatever. Why on earth would you lead with a game that already exists? Because I guess you're Sony, and Spider-Man is a Sony property or something. Is that? I mean, geez.
Well, they also had a big thing about GTA being upscaled and actually coming with, but that's also coming to the Xbox as well. So that's
and right. There was also, some games for some reason they let people from the company talk, but many games they didn't. And in one of the games, it was really striking. The two guys were standing there and they said something to the effect of, "Hey, we used to make movies. We've never made a game before, but here's our first game." And it looked just like a game that launched with the original, the Xbox 360, and I can't remember. It began with a K, but it was just a cartoon girl kind of hopping around a cartoon world, and whatever. The graphics were fine, but I mean, you're the biggest video game company on earth, and this is what you found two guys in a closet that were, working out of the, out of their basement or something. I mean, I just thought it was weird, but
yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
whatever. We're still missing the big thing that everybody on the planet, including Microsoft, was hoping they were announced, but they didn't. It was a price.
Well, that's going to be held.
I mean, that's like a trade secret at this point between Microsoft and Sony. They're both trying to position themselves or whatever.
What's the opposite of one-upping? They want to one down them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're $399, we're $398.
Yeah.
They did introduce two versions, right? So diskless and
I think we got
disc full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
So look, people are like, wow, this is really risky, blah, blah. And I think everyone who buys these things is going to be all digital, basically. Yep. Like, you get the discs so you can watch movies. Anyone who buying a disc game, it's inconceivable to me. I mean, I know.
If you have limited bandwidth, that's the primary reason.
If you live in a place with limited bandwidth, this is the thing you're going to buy. Because I've bad news, and this, Brad. Like, you're still going to have to download game updates.
Yeah, like an 84 gig update for Call of Duty.
You're not saving any time. I'm sorry. It's all you're doing is buying something that will potentially scratch and be rendered useless.
Yeah. Oh, and the fact you have to get up and walk over and bend over at the hip, putting DVDs in,
like a barbarian, right? Like the world's greatest hero.
So, anyway, so that's that thing. I mean, it definitely looks like I don't have these things linked correctly. The one with the DVD or Blu-ray drive, I guess specifically, looks very much like that. Yeah, we should probably do that too.
Yeah. Like, right. In that the one on the right without the disc looks more natural. It looks
Svelte,
normal. Like,
maybe.
Yes. Like it's, it looks good.
It is what
it looks
it is.
better. Yeah.
So,
yeah. It is.
Anyways, during all that brouhaha, Google said that they're suing Sonos. Not all that surprising, I guess, since Sonos sued Google and now they're...
I mean, they have to, right? Yeah. That's how you defend yourself. But it is telling to me that it took them over 5 months to come up with something. And, no offense to Google, but, and without, we don't know sitting here the truth of the matter really, but I mean, you kind of read the two stories and it's like, I think the Sonos one sounds a little more believable, you know. But I don't know. I as a Microsoft guy, you have to appreciate the we'll call it irony instead of hypocrisy of me complaining in this fashion because Microsoft's company that popularized technology that was expensive and provided by another company, Apple in this case, and then won. So, I mean, this kind of thing happens. And if you can make something available to more people at a lower price,
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
Sonos stuff is there's some cheap Sonos stuff if you want it.
Yeah, from the IKEAs of the world.
The gateway drug of smart speakers.
The gateway drug. Get your meatballs. Get your symphonic speakers or whatever they're called, and life goes on. How much? They're only like $100. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Those are nice speakers. I mean, it's the same internals as the one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I actually have an actual bookshelf behind me, not here literally, but those would fit in there pretty well with my kids' books.
They'd be good for a set of rares if you want to do a 5.1 thing, or 3.1, what it is, with your Sonos. What do you have, a Beam?
I don't think I'm going to... The Arc, I've been reading... First off, there's an issue with the Arc. If you're planning to buy one, if you can even get your hands on one, just be careful. I've been reading in the forums, the support forums on Sonos, there's an issue, especially if you don't have a sub with the base. So...
Really? An issue meaning...
I don't know. It sounds like muddied or something. I don't know because I don't have one personally, but there's enough of them, and Sonos issued a statement that, hey, we've figured out how to reproduce this, and we'll figure it out. I still don't think I'm going to be buying one for my basement. Even I really want one, but it's going to ruin the whole thing we just built. So,
do you have a sub?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't bother. You don't have rears though.
No, I do. I have the basement's 5.1.
So you have two Sonos ones in the back. Okay, I wouldn't touch that. That must sound awesome.
Well, the problem is that the Arc has to go on top of the little AV cabinet that we have, and then has to sit in front of the TV. And it's like we picked out the AV cabinet specifically that we have because it fits the beam with a little bit of side to shoot, for the angled out speaker, whatever.
Gotcha.
I just need to keep talking myself out of it. So when I see one at Best Buy, I just don't.
Knee jerk, what is it, an $800 purchase or whatever?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's
no, I don't feel the need. I don't have a sub, so I'm that's one thing I think about, and then I look at the price and I'm like,
the sub is.
Do I really need to make it better for me to sit in this couch and just watch TV? Like, is that a goal?
Let me put it this way: when my kid is downstairs watching like My Little Pony, and I'm upstairs working, it absolutely sounds like thunder from the basement. Like it's good.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, it's Friday, June 12th, middle of June. We've got a computer. I don't know where everybody else is living, but this weekend's supposed to be
beautiful.
Perfect, I think.
We just sat out last night. We sat out until we went to bed. It was just perfect. Like 68, no humidity. It's our Fox. It was a perfect thing. I wish I could have photographed this. It was dark. And so there's kind of like a slight hill across the street, which is just really rural looking. And there's bushes and stuff, but there's this opening. And past the opening is like the other house on the other side of the street. And the back doors are these, I don't know if they're screen doors or whatever they are, but there's two of them. So it was lit up, kind of yellow. And this fox trotted in silhouette right in front of that thing on the top of the hill. It was like this perfect Disney moment,
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. I wish I could have taken a picture of it. I wish my stupid Nest thing could have recorded it. Did I tell you what happened with that? We had the fox also ran through our yard. I thought finally we all saw it. Huge fox, huge 4-0 fox, and like awesome. I'll look at it on the Nest thing right in the middle of the yard, and I couldn't get it to work on the phone, and so I thought I'll just let it wait. I went to the Nest website for the first time. You've seen it, and swear to God, it was 8:21 when this happened. I remember this because I wanted to look at it. At 8:19, for the next 8 minutes is blank. It was not available. You could see it like there's literally a gap. Like the timeline stops and there's empty space. There's like nothing. It's like a government conspiracy to prevent me from recording the Fox.
Maybe the Fox hacked. Maybe the Fox has like an
That's
EMP
what Mark
beacon
said.
on it.
Mark's like has one of those buttons he runs by. It's like Swiper on Dora the Explorer.
Swiper.
Dora the Explorer? Yeah, Swiper.
Yeah, no, it's Dora.
I used to love that little fox.
Swiper and swiping.
I wanted him to get away with it.
Yeah. That's how the series is going to end. He'll eventually steal something, get away with it, and Dora will never find out, and that's just how it ends.
Well, actually, in these politically correct days, I mean, they'll probably have to let him get away with it because everyone's a winner, Brad. And, at some point, yeah, he has to,
Oh, I didn't think we'd be talking about politically correct foxes today, but here we are. Just
swipe or no swiping.
Just diving into Abuela's house where Swiper lives.
Eminent domain because the animals were there first.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
I don't know. You got anything else for the weekend before we?
No, I'm actually a pretty busy social weekend, such as it can be. So, I mean, I'll be writing, obviously, but no, nothing major writing wise, I guess. I don't know.
Good. My daughter's thinking we're going to dig up dinosaur bones in the backyard. I'm not sure how this is going to play out, but
you're going to need a backhoe for that.
Yeah, well, there's not really a lot of dinosaurs known for this area, but
well, except for your senator. Well,
what?
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God. There's, once again, I'm in the basement, but so is the podcast.
Just stay in the bunker, Brad. You'll be fine.
Hopefully, but it's going to be nice. So I'm going to go enjoy that.
Yeah.